Hi there, this is Nikki from A&I Brooders and Incubators. Today we will be replacing a heating element on this brooder that's no longer heating. Usually when this happens, it will either just stop heating completely, or it may only get to like 84 degrees. Usually what happens is this thermal fuse in here will break, and that will cut power to at least one, if not both of the heating elements. This is the old one. So we will be replacing this with one of the newer ones, which looks like this. These are going to be quite a bit more efficient. They're going to be safer, less wires, and it still does have a thermal fuse. In the event of overheating, it will cut the power off still, but it's just going to be a little bit safer and more efficient. So the first thing that we'll do is we need to take this right side panel off, which is where all the electronics are. And to do that, we first need to take the window and the tray out. So we're going to slide the window up, the tray out completely. And then to take the window out, we're actually going to pull this forward and then just slide it all the way down. And it will slide out of its little slot. Set that aside. And then we can start to take the screws out. So there's going to be a total of 5 screws to take out. The first one is actually going to be on the outside here. Take this cover off to where the water hookup is. We're going to take this screw out. I'm going to use this one for purpose of speed, but you can use just a regular one. Out. Put it somewhere safe. And the other 4 screws will be located on the inside. We'll have this one here next to the control panel, and then 3 along the bottom. The screws may not come out because they're very deep set, but that's all right. So after we've taken all the screws out, the 5 that are holding the side panel on, we can actually also take all of these screws out around the grill. So we'll start with this middle one here. That one out. And then we can take this grill off like that and take this foam out. We can also take the humidity unit out. It will need to come out later anyway, so we might as well do it while we're here. Take the little tubing out. And then as you pull this out, there'll be a connection. You can undo that. And just set this aside because you'll need to reinstall this. And then these other 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws around this plate can come out as well. Now we can open up the side panel. Okay, so now that we have all 5 screws out, or at least loose for these deep set ones in here, we can take this side panel off. You're going to lift up a little bit on the frame and then slide this off. That will expose all of the inside components. First thing to do would be to remove this membrane cable that goes to your control panel. It's going to fall out anyway. It's not clipped or anything. It's just snug in there. So you can take that out. So we are also going to take the tubing off of the pump here so that we can actually take this whole side panel off and just set it aside so it's not going to be in our way. So this is the heating element while it's installed inside of the brooder. First thing that we'll do is we'll take these little orange things off. They just hold the wires inside to keep them organized. And then basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna follow all of these wires that come off of this whole box and start unplugging them. So first thing that we can do is we can follow this bunch down here. And let's see, we're gonna unplug these two red ones with the white wires. Get those two out. And then there's a yellow wire with a yellow plug. Take that out. And they just have a little clip here that you press and it unclips and then you pull it straight out. And then we also have two grounding wires. Those are these green ones going to this very tiny little screw in the corner right here. So we can go ahead and take that screw out. Like that. And then loosen these two grounding wires. We can just tuck those in here for now. And there will still be one grounding wire going to this power cable. And we do want to keep that attached to it, but this will be the only grounding wire that attaches back into this screw. So we take the screw, feed the grounding wire into it, and then put it back in place. Screw it back in, nice and secure, just like that. So now that we've gotten this clump of wires loose, we can start to do some of the other ones. So we'll start first with this black wire right here. We can follow this up to the main PCB right here. And this is going to be called water detect on the PCB. Just go ahead, unplug that. That way that's loose, tuck that back in there. And we also have one final grounding wire coming from the heating element going up here and then actually behind the main PCB into this corner. So we can just slide the main PCB out. There's a little slot right here that it fits into. And just let that dangle for a second while we get the screw out. This one can be a little tight. Take this out. Take the grounding wire off. Set that aside and then just put this back straight away. Snug. And then we can take the main PCB and slide it back into its slot here. Okay, so next we're actually going to take the sensor out, but we're going to not unplug it from the main PCB. We're just going to follow this set of the black, green, white, and red wires. Goes to the sensor that's in a little slot up here. Just gently pull on that, take the sensor out, and just let it dangle because we're actually going to keep the same sensor and put it in the new heating element. So we'll just tuck that back in there so it's out of the way. Let's see what other wires we have. So we have two more wires. Both of them are going to be black and red. One of them is going to go to the fan. The other one goes to this little black box back here that is for the anions. We'll follow those two. They're both going to go down to the secondary PCB. It's going to be this one in the corner, which says ion. Take that out. And then this other one that says CN6. Just gently, this one's a little different. It has a different mechanism for closing. If you just gently tug on it, kind of wiggle it, it should come out like that. But if it doesn't want to come out, then you can also take flathead screwdriver and just get that little clip that's attached to the secondary PCB, pull it out, and that will free it from its little mechanism there. Last step is going to be this tubing right here coming from the water pump. We're gonna just pull it out and have it loose on this side because it's actually in a little slot in here that also passes through the heating element structure, the frame of it. So we'll need to take that out in order to take the whole heating element out. All right, so next we can take this out, and to do that we're actually going to reach in and start to pull from the front side of it. Just push with your thumb and then pull with your fingers. Might be a little bit of resistance, but just keep pulling gently, and then it will slide out like that and then come loose, and all the wires should be loose, so it should just pop out right like that. All right, so I have our new heating element with the whole frame attached to it still. We're going to put it in basically the same way that we took the old one out. So this corner is going to go in first, like this. And this heating element is actually a little bit bigger than the old one. So if you see my hand right here, this is the slot for the humidity unit where it sits in, and there's a little lip right here, and you're going to take your other hand and you're going to push this down to slide the heating element just over it, and once it's started to go over it, it will slide in pretty easily. Might need to wiggle it, and it'll go in like that. Slide this part in, and there you go. Alright, so now we will go back to this side of the brooder, where on the inside of the panel. We take our little bundle of wires here that's just rubber banded together. Undo all of that. Alright, you'll see we have significantly fewer wires here, which is great. And we will just focus on these two for right now. This white with the red plug is going to be our power to the heating element, and this yellow with the yellow plug is going to be our thermal fuse to the heating element. So we will take both of those, stick it in this little slot, and then you'll see that the old one had two of these. This one only has one. Does not matter which plug you put it into, as long as it's one of the red ones. I'll put it in the bottom one. This yellow one goes in the yellow plug. Like that. Okay. Now that those two are in, we can do these three. And let's see. So we'll start with this one. This is the red and black plug. That's going to this box in the back here. This is your anion plug. So this goes also down here into this one that says ion at the top. Plug that in. Okay. And then we can do our fan, which is also black and white wire, but it has a slightly different plug head. Put that in here where it's CN6. Plug that in. Great. Last one that's coming from the heating element is going to be this two black wire with the white plug. This is actually going to go up here to the main PCB, and this plug right here called water detect. Okay, that's nice and plugged in. And then we still have the sensor that we took out from the old one, so we'll just organize our wires here. And this is going to go in the slot on the bottom this way, so this flat side facing up, the wires on the bottom. Just slide that in to its little designated spot, and that are all the wires plugged in. Alright, so now that all of our wires are plugged in where they need to go, we can put these little orange wire keepers back in. They just keep everything a little bit organized. So in these little little slots we can push the wires in, and then get these orange things. Keep the wires nice and snug, like that. It just keeps it a little bit more organized and prevents any wires from getting pinched between hard plastic bits. Okay, so next we're going to work inside here a little bit, and the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put these outside, the outside frame of these screws back in, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws. So let's go ahead and do that. And that will just keep it secure while we put the humidity unit back in.
Blooper.
Alright, so now that that's secure, we can also put our humidity unit back. We can pull this wire back through, reconnect this, push it down, and wiggle this back in. Your float needs to be closest to you, closest to the front of the brooder. That, and it'll fall back into place, and then we need to pull the tubing back through that we had taken out when we replaced this. Pull it back through this hole right here, and then situate it in the little slot in the humidity unit. So this was the tube that we took out from the old heating element. We're going to take it and feed it through this slot right here. You can just push it through, and it can go over this this little screw hole right here. Just push it through, then we can go back to the other side. So here's the tube that we just pushed through. We can slide it in this little slot in the humidity unit. Alright, so next we just need to put this side panel back on. First thing that we're going to do is we're going to reattach this tubing that we took out to the water pump. This is going to go on the, not the middle nipple, but the outermost one. Try and do it so that you can see it. And try to get it as secure on there as possible. There we go, that looks good. Alright, and next, actually what we're going to do is we are going to take this power cable and put it in place, and then we're going to attach the other side of the power cable to it, but we're not going to have it plugged into the electricity. Okay, very important. You're not plug it in, have it loose, not in an outlet. We're going to take this, the triangle should be facing up with the point of the triangle of these little prongs should be facing up. So we're going to take it like this, put it in place, and then plug it in to the power cable. And that way it just holds this in place, otherwise it's loose and it can fall down easily when we go to put this panel back on. Last thing that we need to connect is going to be this membrane cable. And you want to make sure that it's not twisted from the membrane. This is the membrane. You want to make sure it's flat. And then we're going to slide it into the membrane slot right here, and you'll feel some resistance going in. It's just holding it in place, but there's no clip or anything. Just slide it in so that it's pretty secure, and then we can put the side panel back on. What I like to do is just lift up this frame a little bit, like how we did when we took it off. We're just going to lift up the frame and guide the side panel back. You'll kind of feel it snap into place, and you'll see that these two the side panel, and then the white kind of part that is part of the main frame will kind of overlap a little bit, and it'll be loose, but you'll see when we put the screws in, it'll tighten up. All right, so we will start with this screw out here because it's easiest to get to. Just put it back in here, tighten it. And it's never a good idea to over tighten. Just tighten like with your hand till it's snug. It does not need to be excessively tight because then it can actually bend the plastic. So just snug, that's good enough. All right, so now that the outside screw is in, we can do the remaining 1, 2, 3, 4 screws. These screws didn't come out when we had taken the side panel off initially, so they're actually still in there, just deep set. So you can just stick a screwdriver in. It'll catch it. Again, don't over tighten. So now we can put the grill and stuff back on here. Before we do that, it's always a good idea to double check your humidity unit lever and that it's moving up and down freely, just in case it got jostled when you were putting screws back or moving the machine around or anything. Your filter is going to go on this side. And we can put our grill back on, snap it in place, put the screw back in. Here. Okay, and now we can put the tray back in and the window back on. So first we'll put the window back on. That needs to happen before we put the tray in. So just like how we took it off, we're just going to do the opposite. Pull this to the edge so you have like a few inches over, and then take your window with the outside facing out. This is the outside. This is the inside with these little knobs. Just make sure that the edges of the window are inside between these two side panel things, and it just kind of sits in between there. And you can slide it up like that, and then you take your tray, feed it in its slot, back, down. Now we have everything set back in place, and now we just need to do a factory reset upon startup, just to make sure that it recognizes the new equipment, and then we should be good to go. Your factory reset, I'm going to use an extension cord with some outlets on it. So you're going to press and hold the power button. While you hold the power button, you're going to plug your power in. It's going to show RST. Once it shows RST, this one was very quick, sometimes they take a second, you can let go of the power button. It'll disappear, and you can power it back on normally. It'll also reset your temperature and your humidity, so you're going to want to change that to whatever you'd like to have it set to. So we'll just put it up a little bit so that it heats up nicely. Heat up, and it's warm.